1, 2, 3, 4. Woke up this morning feeling so conflicted into all my emotions, oversensitive. Honestly, I wouldn't know the difference. Chase a rush of dopamine, moments of bliss. Well, hopefully this season of anime, sex, weed, and food won't be so addictive. When the high is over, I ask myself what the point of this is. Chase another rush to avoid the question, cycle never ended. Tendencies to be pensive are over excessive. Last night was filled with successes, followed by self-sabotage, imposter syndrome. That being said, I get out of my bed. Least I can do for myself since I can't get out of my head. Start my day regardless, to be honest, that's a feat. I make my bed, brush my teeth. Little things sometimes will make the biggest difference. Boring to you, but that stuff's special to me. Almost make me feel like I could have a fresh start. What if I never, if only I had just, all I hear is white noise around me, no cause of fuss. Can't even get up, too busy trying to fall behind. And I don't wanna fail, guess I'm cool with passing time. Reason I don't live my dream, cause nobody wanted to believe. I was a victim of so many things. No angel invested to face these demons. I know the system is not on my side. Sometimes I run and sometimes I hide. They can't even tell the fake from the real. Who the hell is gonna pay for these bills? I know I'm bitter, too many decisions. My mama's still buying the lottery ticket. She telling me one day that we gon' win it. So what's the point of even doing this? How many rappers out there besides you? Don't tell me I mean, you know that it's true. Why the hell would you think you could do it? Okay, do it then, make yourself look a fool. Excuses always doubt you, finding a way to sound true. Pushing you to the ropes, now it got your pen on the ground too. Say you'll get around to it, life don't give you a round two. Think about this gift you have to give, it's not about you. Yeah, quit all that noise. Quit all that noise. What if I never, if only I had just, all I hear is white noise around me, no cause of fuss. Can't even get up, too busy trying to fall behind. And I don't wanna fail, guess I'm cool with passing time. Thank you very much. Can we please make some noise for Daniel Espina on the guitar and the chemist on trumpet? Thank you. My name is Siddartha, and I have a confession to make. It was never my dream to be a rapper. It was my older brother's. When we were young, he would sit me down, put on a beat, and freestyle for hours. He would show me his latest verses and tracks, and even have me film to post his videos on Facebook. His name is Tiwari, and he's my hero. I witnessed him pour countless hours into music over the years, so to me, it was a given that he would succeed. That this was his calling. Until we lost him to suicide. He was only 20 years old. I was 17 at the time. Broken and confused. I went through intense grief
depression, and eventually, fear. That his legacy would be lost, that his memory would fade away, and that his dream would die with him. And that's when the thought occurred to me. You do it. I spent the next 5 years learning how to write songs, make beats, record and release music from scratch. And then in 2019, using his rap journal and his vocal recordings, I released my very first project, Reflections of a Stranger, in dedication to him. Now, as some of you know, since then, I've won a Juno, I've been to the Grammys, I've worked with some of my greatest idols in music, and I guess you could say I'm somewhat of a famous rapper. Yeah. Thank you. I lied. That's a lie. Yeah. I wish I was here to tell you how I accomplished all that, but I'm not. At least, not yet. Today, I'm here to talk about how music and creativity saved me. How to put the pieces together when they're broken because they're broken, and how that is anything but a coincidence. How writing that album helped me grieve and ultimately heal. When we hear the word creativity, we get this warm, fuzzy feeling inside. The image that comes to mind is one of colorful rainbows and beautiful symphonies working in tandem as unicorns gracefully strut across a field of blooming flowers. But anybody who's had a breakthrough, written a song, had a business idea, scientific invention, you know, the useful people, they'll tell you that creativity is a puzzle. It's the opposite. It's not warm. It's taking your hands, putting them in the dirt, taking the pieces in front of you and putting them together in a million different ways until they finally click. Music is literally a puzzle. You are creating the pieces, your bass, your drums, your vocals, your melody, your lyrics. You're trying different combinations until you get a fit that makes you feel something. Songs solve a variety of problems. They reduce anxiety. They get you amped to reach that PR in the gym. They get people to connect, socialize, dance, or they might even help you get over that breakup. It's all good. We go through it. I know, it's cool. Different genres, different artists, and even different songs from the same artist are all solving a different problem for you. The same goes for any form of creativity. So, if that's the case, for us to be creative, we need problems. Now, I know you think you have enough of those, but how do we find a problem that we want to solve? And then how do we solve it? Exploration. You can't find what you can't see. Look at the world around you as a bottomless treasure chest filled with puzzle pieces that you can reach out for. Develop your eye for it. Explore. Sources of inspiration are everywhere to be found. Things externally, like those 3 a.m. deep conversations you have with your friends, your favorite TV shows, movies, books, and of course, albums. As well as things internally, like what matters to you? What problems did you already face growing up? Come up with questions for yourself, because maybe somebody else is going through those same problems right now, and maybe you can be the one to help them. Here's the most important part. Document anything that catches your eyes. I don't care if it's on paper, on an app, or on voice recordings. Create a database to pull from. As a songwriter, every song idea starts off as a seed. Some bloom immediately with little to no effort, and others take weeks, months, or even years. But if those seeds are never placed in the soil, there is zero chance for them to grow. Don't let your inspiration be forgotten. You might not see the bigger picture now, but if you keep an eye open, you may just find the missing piece that you need for it all to make sense. Write it down. Remember, Receiving inspiration is not an event that happens. It's a muscle to be flexed. My brother knew this well. He had documented all of his unfinished verses, tracks, and album ideas in his rap journal. My album, Reflections of a Stranger, the title is a triple entendre. It has 3 meanings. The first of which is, I never read his rap journal before he passed. So, as I was reading it, I was learning a new side of him. I was reading the reflections of a stranger. Secondly, it was released to you all, the public, whom, as we established, have no idea who I am. So, as you're listening to the album, you're hearing my reflections, the reflections of a stranger, and finally, the album was meant for my future self to return to. By that point in time, I would be a different person, hopefully. So, me listening to my younger self would be the reflections of a stranger. It took me 2 full years to come up with the title. And I couldn't have made the project if I didn't have the pieces laid out in front of me. Every conversation, photo, video, journal, and memory that I had of my brother. The next step is to process. This is where we do an inventory check. For you to do that, you'll need stillness. Most great ideas are made in the shower, right before bed, or on the toilet, because in a world full of distractions, these are the only times we give ourselves to process, if any. At some point, you have to stop intake and start outputting. Otherwise, you get caught in the trap of always consuming, never creating. Meditate. Bring out that pen and page. And if you can't do that, for the love of God, at least try. Try not to bring your phone with you when you're in the washroom. I had just graduated high school when I lost my brother. I actually already accepted my offer to go to university. But his loss forced me to sit still, take a year off, think about what was really the right decision. My life, his legacy, and how I wanted to carry it forward. Here I am today, speaking to you all and doing what I love. Without stillness, there's no surface for you to put your puzzle pieces on. Finally, express. Bring your ideas to life. This is where we brain blast. Trial and error until you see a path forward. Do not worry about it being bad or good. There is no such thing as writer's block, just an unwillingness to write from the fear of being bad. We can always put something down, anything, but we choose not to. The song that I performed for you guys at the beginning of this talk is called Quit All That Noise, and I wrote it when I was struggling to create. I was at my wit's end. So, I did the only thing I knew how to do. I wrote a song about it. At first, it was just a song meant to vent. But eventually, I fell in love with it. It resonated with me. After rewriting it 3 times. The best moments are where it all comes together. But that takes persistence and fighting the fear that's holding you back. Having a eureka moment is not a stroke of luck. It's an act of courage. Somebody recently called me courageous for pursuing music after my brother's passing. But I never saw it that way. I was terrified. The fear of death, of his death, terrified me to the point that this was my only way of coping. But as I'm looking back, after stepping in his shoes, writing songs, making beats, rewriting songs, remaking beats, I realize that it's that fear that is courageous. That courage isn't facing your fears or overcoming them. That courage is just being afraid of the right things. So, let's sum this up. Exploration. If you want to own your creativity, you have to explore. There's always a problem out there for you to solve. And if you don't have a problem, that's a problem. Solve it. Process. Look at the skills, the network, and the resources available to you. This is where you brainstorm until there is paper scattered across your room and lightning in a bottle, and finally express. Bring your ideas to form. Bring your solutions to form. Assess how well it's working and where you can improve until it is a solution or a creation that you can truly be proud of. With that being said, I implore you all to go out into the world and create. Make that novel. Try out that business idea. Write a song. Life is filled with problems. It always has been, and it always will be. But that also means there is no shortage of opportunities for us to make something beautiful out of it. I leave you with these words. Remember, there is no such thing as having a problem being creative. We're creative because we have problems. Thank you.